Our next featured novelist is David Levine.
Thank you very much. Before I begin reading, I'd like to start off with, I'd like to begin with a dedication. This is Arabella, the Trader of Mars, which is the third and concluding volume in the Adventures of Arabella Ashby, which began with Arabella of Mars. And this third volume is dedicated to my father. This book is dedicated to my father, who taught me calculus at the dishwasher and gave me Mission of Gravity and Gravy Planet as bedtime stories. And my father is here tonight, Leonard Levine. But because this is set in the 1800s, I figure I would do as most people do who write stories set in the 1800s and rap. Hear ye, hear ye! A proclamation concerning Arabella, the Traitor of Mars, from the Prince Regent. Heed not the treason of Arabella, sing. She is not the savior of Mars. Chaos and bloodshed will not solve a thing. Don't let her lead you astray. This virago does not speak for me. She's playing a dangerous game. I pray the prince shows her his mercy. For shame, for shame. Yo. He'd have you lose your reason at the state of things, but the Prince Regent is coming. The Martians will win this. It's hard to listen to you with a straight face. Chaos and bloodshed already haunt us, and you shouldn't even talk. What about Alka? Look at the cost and all that we've lost, and you call her virago? My dog speaks more eloquently than thee. Strangely, his mange is the same. Is he in Jersey? For the resistance! For the resistance! If you repeat yourself again, I'm gonna sing. Honestly, look at me. Please don't read. Don't modulate the key and not debate with me. Why should a tiny island across space subjugate the Martian race? You say, the price of my love's not a price that you're willing to pay. You cry in your trees, which you hurl in the sky when you see me go by. Why so sad? Remember we made an arrangement when you went away. Now you're making me mad. Remember, despite our estrangement, I'm your man. You'll be mine, soon you'll see. You'll discover you belong to me. You'll be mine, time will tell. You'll discover that I'll serve you well. Airships rise, traitors fall. We will see each other through it all. And when push comes to shove, I will send a fleet of armored airships to remind you of my love. Da 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 da, ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ya da da da. Everybody. Da 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 ya da 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 ya da 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 ah. So, now I'm going to read. And keep an eye on the time for me, please. Right. Okay. So, Arabella, the Traitor of Mars, takes place in an alternate universe in 1815. In this universe, the solar system is full of air, and the English and other countries colonized the planets Mars and Venus back in the 1600s. So, the Napoleonic Wars, just concluded, featured the final defeat of Napoleon in the eponymous Battle of Venus, and our hero Arabella Ashby, now Arabella Singh, and her recently married husband Captain Singh have just returned to Earth in triumph, and they now find themselves as guests of the Prince Regent in his lovely home in Brighton. Anybody here know the Brighton Pavilion? In our timeline, it's Indian on the outside, Chinese on the inside. In this timeline, it's Martian on the outside and Venusian on the inside. Upon returning to the main pavilion, its surfeit of counterfeit viennoiserie, its glaring gas lamps, and its suffocating heat even more oppressive to her after her clean, exhilarating flight on the Dracaine. Oh, Arabella has just invented the bicycle, but that's not important right now. Before she could ascend the stairs to her bedchamber, she was met by none other than the prince. "Ah, there you are," he said as his conveyance chugged up to her. The Prince Regent has a steam-powered wheelchair. "I was told that you had gone to the stables, and I was just going thence to meet with you." Unusually, he was alone, lacking the crowd of sycophants and hangers-on which generally accompanied him. "I am in no fit state to meet with the prince, your royal highness," she said, managing to gesture her soiled dress and execute a tolerable curtsy at the same time. "Pish, pish," he replied, gesturing negligently. "We are all friends here. Come, I must have a word with you." He puttered off down the long gallery, forcing Arabella to walk at a brisk pace to keep up. Her thighs immediately reminded her that they had just recently undergone an unusual exertion. She was riding on a bicycle, you dirty-minded people, and did not enjoy being called upon for this additional task so soon. The prince led her to an anteroom she had not visited before and shut the door behind her. Her heart hammered at the sudden isolation, not so much because she feared impropriety as because she had no idea what the Prince Regent might ask of her, and as he was her acting sovereign, she knew that she could not deny him any request. "Pray, take a seat," the prince said. Arabella did so, recognizing even as she did that this was not only a generous offer of comfort, but also brought her down to the prince's level, removing her advantage of height. "This regards your husband as well as yourself." He paused, tapping fingertips together. "How old are you, if I may ask?" 20, your royal highness." Again, he waved away the honorific. "As I thought, exactly the same age as my dear daughter, the Princess Caroline. You remind me of her in many ways. She too is headstrong and irrepressible, although at least, unlike you, she has never run away to Mars, ha." "Indeed, she has not," Arabella temporized. "It is perhaps because of this resemblance," the prince continued, "in addition to your heroism and great services to the empire, etc., that I feel very kindly toward you. And so I wish to grant you and your husband a great boon." A boon, sir?" Arabella's heart pounded still harder. The prince sat back in his chair, looking down his nose and across his steepled fingertips with what she imagined he thought was a benevolent expression. "Now that Bonaparte has been definitively defeated, England finds herself the sole decisive power in the entire solar system. But other nations, and not only human nations, will soon attempt to fill the spaces vacated by the great tyrant, like rats moving in after the dog has chased the cat away. I have been approached by a coalition of men from the Admiralty and the Honorable Mars Company who intend to take the battle to these rats before they can attain a foothold." "What has this to do with me?" "Mars!" the prince shouted, striking the arm of his chair with his closed fist. "Mars will be one of the chief battlefields in this coming war. Did you know that St. George's Land covers less than 7% of its surface area? 7%! The entire remainder of the planet belongs to those filthy Martians." Arabella pressed her lips together rather than angrily correcting His Royal Highness on the topic of Martians, as was her first impulse. It was their planet, after all, and the English colony merely a guest thereon. But if her mentor, Lady Corey, were here, she would certainly advise Arabella that to contradict the Prince Regent in his own home on a topic clearly dear to his heart would be both impolite and impolitic. Mars is the only source of this special wood of which our aerial ships are constructed, he continued, lecturing her upon a topic with which she was intimately familiar. And Martian steel is the finest in the solar system. England must control Mars for the sake of her future. But surely, with Napoleon's defeat, England no longer has any significant rivals in this. The Martians themselves, my dear, he said, as though addressing an ignorant child. They are our rivals. You may think them primitives. She did not, by any means. But they are warlike and ambitious, and some of them are most exceedingly shrewd. And now that we have dealt with Bonaparte, we can devote our full energies to bringing them to heel. But why, Your Highness? We've traded with the Martians quite amicably for generations. Surely there's no need for this to change. They have been content to leave the defense of their planet from Napoleon and such like warlords to us. And now that that threat has been removed, they may feel free to move against us. It is only by dint of treaties and lack of expertise that they lack aerial ships of their own, and we cannot rely upon this situation to continue if we do not take measures to enforce it. Your argument makes no difference, Your Highness. She had been about to say no sense. The Martians have no ambitions to empire. Nor have I, child, nor have I. But I am assured by both the Admiralty and the Honorable Mars Company that the possibility, indeed the likelihood, exists. Furthermore, the profits to be realized from English dominance of Mars are well nigh incalculable. The Prince Regent delivered that last sentence in an offhand manner, but the expression on his face as he uttered the word profits showed that it was more significant to him than he let on. The effect was subtle, but suddenly she suspected she understood the real purpose of the Prince, the Mars Company, and perhaps even the Admiralty in this scheme, and she was horrified. Her first impulse was to rise, spit in his face, and stride from the room, but she must confirm her suspicions. Recalling the words of Lady Hertford regarding the Prince's sense of self-importance, she leaned forward and smeared a smile across her face. Oh, but Prinny, you have so much money already. Surely mere profit is of no significance to you. Ah, that is where you are wrong, my dear, he replied with a matching smile, causing her to wonder just how sincere any of his previous smiles had been. I am, in fact, most grievously constrained by Parliament, most grievously. My position, my responsibilities, they absolutely require me to furnish myself and my household in accordance with my station. But given the paltry pittance provided me by my father with the collusion of Parliament, I've been forced to borrow the necessary funds to such an extent that I am now burdened with a truly mountainous debt. But with the assistance of my friends in the Mars Company, who in exchange for my help in this matter are prepared to share with me a portion of the funds realized, I will be able to discharge this debt and return my full attentions to the grandeur and glorification of England. But what of the Admiralty? Surely they care nothing for mere capital. Indeed they do not. But a soldier, or an airman, deprived of the opportunity for glory, cast ashore on half pay, as the Navy men say, is an unhappy creature indeed. With Napoleon's defeat, they find themselves staring idleness in the face. A new campaign, such as one to pacify the Martians, would give them reason to live. And, Arabella reflected, continued income and authority within the government. Which brings me to my original point, the prince continued. This scheme absolutely requires a man to lead it, a very particular kind of man. And with your Captain Singh's long experience in the Mars Company, and with his demonstrated and quite innovative military mind, he is the very man for the job. I have to stop.